Fuck, it's messy in here. Jesus Christ. I got just the whole thing, whole chip bag. Fuck. God damn it. Fudge. Hey, do you like weird, wild, fucked up movies? Well, here's 8, an arbitrary number of wild, fucked up movies that you might enjoy because I do. And if we share similar tastes, then maybe you'll like them. Or not. Who knows? It's a whole world of differing opinions and tastes out there on the internets. Was this enough of an introduction? I'm going to assume so. Titty, titty, titty. Let's get into it. Number 1, Ichi the... I shouldn't clap that close to the mic. Ichi the Killer. There are a lot of Takashi Miike movies out there that I would recommend, but for the sake of the noobs in the audience, I'm going to put forward my first Miike experience, Ichi the Killer. This is a warped tale of an urban pseudo-superhero, a psychotic yakuza with the Chelsea grin, and the kind of plot that can best be described as... Sure, why not? This is the sort of film that presents its title card over a close-up of jizz. Actually, it forms out of the jizz, so it's like extra in it. In the interest of new and provocative methods of torture, it also uses hot oil in a way not generally seen in Western media. Like most of Miike's work, this isn't based on his ideas. No, Takashi don't play that tune very often, having only written like 3 or 4 scripts himself. He takes other people's fucked up concepts and just kind of marinates them in his special stew of what the fuckery. And in this case, it's the manga by Hideo Yamamoto, which ran from 1998 to 2001, the year of the film's release. Now, I haven't read the manga, but apparently it's super disturbing, which, tracks. There's also an anime, but I know nothing about that because I don't watch cartoons. Those are for kids. I'm talking about all these other high-class movies. Don't take that part seriously. I watch plenty of cartoons. Please don't cancel me. If you've already seen Ichi the Killer and want a little more bonkers Miike nonsense in your life, I'd highly recommend Gozu, which I actually ripped off for my film in college, Visitor Q, or Dead or Alive, which features my favorite opening sequence ever. That's not bullshit tomfoolery either. I love that fucking sequence so much, and I'm going, if I can ever make my caveman movie, I'm ripping it off again. So we'll see. If you want to go a little more obscure, I really enjoyed MPD Psycho, which is a miniseries he directed based on another manga. All of these are not only great fucked up flicks, but they're also big inspirations for me as an artist. Disney, here I come. Next up, The Amazing Mr. No Legs.
Planning on starting your own operation here?
Y'all. This movie was directed by The Creature. That's right, Rico Browning himself, the man who directed Thunderball and Never Say Never Again's underwater sequences, played the Gill Man in 3 Universal films, and co-created Flipper. Flipper, faster than lightning. I don't remember how the Flipper song goes. Anyway.
Call him Flipper, faster than lightning.
He also directed The Amazing Mr. No Legs, a film about, well... Okay, so what's the fucking story here? I don't remember. It's a bunch of crime bullshit involving drug running, revenge, and the titular two-limbed wonder himself, who you might think would be the hero. After all, the idea of a wheelchair-bound hero, perhaps a Charles Bronson type, just, minus the stems, seeking vengeance against the criminal underworld after the death of a family member, seems like the obvious plotline. But nope. This is a world where a chief mob enforcer can also be severely handicapped. Yep. He's the main villain, baby. And to quote Forrest Gump,
You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
well, he's sort of the main baddie. At very least, he's like the colorful henchman who you consider to be the main villain, but isn't actually. But he might as well be because he's the only one you remember from the movie. It's that kind of scenario. Anyway, the actual heroes are 2 detectives, one of whom is seeking out who killed his sister or got his sister killed, while the other, played by Richard Jekyll, Jackal? I've never heard his name said.
You want mustard or ketchup?
The harder the better.
That's a lie, because I 100%, like, he's in one of these, and I do remember that they definitely say his name on one of the behind-the-scenes things, but I don't remember how to say his fucking name. Titty. He's sort of a charismatic one-liner machine. The film's actually not all that wild for a hefty chunk, and I'd say it's definitely the least gripping of anything on this list. However, Mr. No Legs makes up for this by the sheer absurdity of its premise, the impressive action centered around our shotgun-toting villain, portrayed by Ted Volrath, which is such a great name, the Wrath of Voles. And the fact it was directed by the fucking creature from the Black Lagoon and written by his cohort from fucking Flipper. Y'all, cinema is magic. Next up, Dial Code Santa Claus. Santa Claus, friend of children and giver of gifts, or homeless dude with white paint in his beard looking for some good old-fashioned revenge on his very reasonable boss and society at large? Well, if Deadly Games, aka Dial Code Santa Claus, aka French Words, has anything to say about it, it's the latter. Hoo boy! If you thought you wanted your Home Alone with a dash of homicidal Saint Nick and the kind of grandparent sadness that is sure to raise millions in psychiatric medical bills, this is the film for you. And hey, it's French, so you can tell your friends it's an artsy Christmas classic from a foreign land, and then whoopah! The old bait and switch. That's not a bait and switch, that's a fist. The bait and switch would be... Anyway, they'll thank you. They'll thank you later. If you haven't picked up the 4K disc from Vinegar Syndrome yet, then go treat yourself. And if the kiddo's being a little cock knocker, treat them as well. Just, start stashing cash for those psychiatric visits. Okay, I keep hitting things in front of the microphone, and I feel like that's not what you're supposed to do. Shining Sex.
It resulted in my first contract in the Middle East with wonderful people and all the presents you wouldn't believe. I sure was #1 out there.
For this one, I'm going to just go ahead and spoil things so you understand what the fuck is happening. Jess Franco's Shining Sex is basically just a softcore porno in sci-fi trappings, but its sense of minimalism, something Franco fans should be well aware of by now, is what gives it such a whacked out what the fuck aesthetic.
I know it's very difficult for you to understand. It was a long time ago.
All of the plot is described in sometimes hard-to-follow dialogue, while the on-screen actions sort of match up with what's being described. Basically, Franco's muse Lena Romay plays a stripper who is seduced by a mysterious woman named Alpha and her hunky sunglasses-wearing assistant, Andros. The big twist here is that Alpha is in fact a being from another dimension who uses glittery sex gel spread all over Lena Romay. Even just saying it, spread all over Lena Romay's body to control her and turn her into a teleporting sex assassin. Guys, come on. Go over to the Severin website and put the sucker in your cart. Throw in, the Sinful Dwarf for $3, whatever. Check out. Just buy it and watch it. It's so good. Unless you hate Jess Franco, in which case, maybe don't give too much credence to my opinions.
Boris, help me. I must go to the library.
Crank 2 High Voltage. Okay, let's go a bit newer with this entry. Crank 2 High Voltage is, of course, the 2009 sequel to the 2006 Jason Statham banger Crank, directed by Neveldine and Taylor, they of the sorely underrated Gamer, and, oh shit, Crank is 15 years old. Death comes for us all. Anyway, Crank 2 is one of those sequels that really just goes for broke after, spoilers, leaving our hero falling from a helicopter and bouncing off a car. The film has our chemically altered protagonist given an artificial heart designed to keep him alive for another hour. So naturally, we get thrown straight back into the energetic, politically incorrect tomfoolery that the first Crank was so acclaimed for. High Voltage did not do as well with audiences or critics at the times, but trust me, it fucking rules. With the caveat that is also, it's super, super offensive. In my opinion, it's also ridiculous and trying so hard to be offensive that it all just comes off as a silly joke. But that's something that works for me and maybe not for you. So consider that a warning. This is a film that does not treat women or minorities with a whole lot of respect, including what must be the strangest use of David Carradine in Yellowface that there's ever been, and a role for Bai Ling that just screams, "I know where Johnny Wong goes!" Well, it just screams.
He treated me like his hot little whore.
If you have nostalgia for that early 2000s love of gross out, mean-spirited ultraviolence, then Crank 2 High Voltage should fit the bill.
Are you alright? Never better.
Also, there's a kaiju fight with bobblehead Jason Statham. Bad taste. Now, back to the 80s. Before Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson was best known for his gory classic Brain Dead, aka Dead Alive, as well as for The Frighteners. But before those movies, he was the little indie weirdo from New Zealand who gave us Bad Taste, one of the most accurately named films of all time. It's not quite as bizarre as his pre-Avenue Q drug-fueled puppet extravaganza Meet the Feebles, but it's definitely a better and more enjoyable jaunt through the brain of a horror junkie.
I hope I'm not the poor bastard that's got to clean that up.
Bad Taste is renowned for being a total passion project for Jackson, shot on weekends over the course of 4 years and starting out as a short film before ballooning to a full-fledged feature with a little help from the New Zealand Film Commission. It tells the story of 4 dudes going up against aliens who are looking to abduct humans to serve in their intergalactic fast food joint. Tons of violence and absurd special effects abounds, and Peter Jackson even has an on-screen role as one of the heroes, who winds up having to stuff his brains back into his skull at one point. Guys, if that ain't a 5-star experience, I don't know what is.
My God, the blood!
I drink blood!
Let it be known, sons and daughters, that Satan was an acid head.
See, you ever have a bunch of psychotic, Satan-worshipping hippies mosey on into your mostly abandoned hometown, set up shop in an abandoned hotel, and drug your grandpappy while causing havoc all around? Did that rhyme? Yeah, whatever. Well, you probably did the obvious and fed them meat pies tainted with the blood of a rabid dog. And then you probably found out the hard way that feeding people rabid dog blood naturally turns them into angry rage zombies out to kill anything and everyone in their path. David E. Durston's 1970 masterpiece, I Drink Your Blood, is perhaps most famous for being a double bill with I Eat Your Skin, but that latter movie is a boring turd, while I Drink Your Blood 100% lives up to its title. It's a rollicking good time with enough iconic imagery and bizarre performances to keep just about anyone entertained, assuming they have a strong stomach. I have a review about this one, by the way, so you can go check that out on this channel. I've also talked a lot about Let My Puppets Come! But just to reiterate, it's a porno spoof starring puppets called Let My Puppets Come.
That's what I call head.
What more do you want from me? It features Jonathan Freeman, the fucking voice of Jafar himself, as a chauffeur to this old puppet lady, and they perform a song and dance routine. There's music by pre-success Alan Silvestri as well. So yes, that does mean that this Gerard Damiano film has 2 Disney connections.
What you need is lots of raunchy sex.
And yes, a woman fucks a dog. It's wild, and it's fucked up, and you gotta see it. God damn it. I will not rest until people watch this fucking movie. God dang. Anyway, now, I'll admit, I've played this list pretty close to the chest. In fact, I based it, titty. I based it entirely on what was on my my surviving hard drive after my big boy died, and I had to scramble for topics at the last minute. So if you'd like to hear about even more fucked up, wild bullshit, don't forget to leave a comment and like the video, subscribe, all that shit, so I know you're the right kind of weirdo for the sheer insanity that I have in store for future videos. Consider this one an appetizer, because we're going to go fucking wild with future entries in this if I continue. So please show your love if you love it. If you don't love it, then don't, and then I won't do it again. So, you know, that's also, you have the power, man. This is a democracy. This channel is a democracy. I recognize that I have not listened to all my constituents who are telling me to just review the Texas Chainsaw Massacre already, but, you know, politicians, they don't listen to people. Anyway, go watch a movie.
Come and get it, boys!
You know, actually, so I have, like, all this shit on my desk and trying to, like, re-rip all the stuff that I need to use for videos. So, like, I got Nemesis right here. Great Albert Pyun film. Evil Tunes, that's going to get a review soon. Scary Tales and Jungle Trap. Scary Tales is actually on my, I'm doing Justin Decloux's horror movie challenge that he came up with this year. And that's on that. So is Blood Lake. Look at that. Blood Lake. I'm going to review Nowhere to Run because I need stuff that I've watched before and enjoyed. The other 3 Nemesis films, also exciting. Justin Decloux's Teddy Bomb and Impossible Horror. I was thinking of doing a video all about his work. Speaking of, oh boy, I messed up my entire setup here. Don't Let the River Beast Get You. That's a really solid one. Yeah. This is weird. Don't Let the River Beast Get You is so weird because it is such a, like, love it or hate it film. So Matt Farley, if you don't know who he is, he runs Modern Media. He's a musician and a filmmaker, and he has a very specific style that I recommend you try out at very least. A lot of his movies are very easy to watch. Easy to, like, find and watch. Whether it's easy to watch is up to you. Are all the patrons done? Go join the Patreon, bitch!